How can I use a famous Scottish saying that I want to use when YouTube penalises rude words in the opening? Should I say it in Gaelic? Or maybe Scots? Murhaile alapanach she kakahal. If it's no Scottish, it's Keith. Which brings us to the subject of this canon. So if you're interested in the people, places and events in Scottish history, then click the subscribe button at the bottom right of the screen and ring the notification bell to be told when I upload new videos. In the meantime, let me tell you a story. As people walk past this display cannon in the tourism quarter of Quebec City, I'm sure some of them look at it and think, was it any good? Was it effective in its day? Did the people admire it? Was it worth having? As it turns out, to deal with that question, there's a universal law of nature as fundamental as matter itself. If it's not Scottish, it's shite. Of course, those of you who understand quantum physics, nobody understands quantum physics. But by the end of this video, you will. Anyway, you'll be familiar with the wave-particle duality of matter. That means some things can be brilliant and shite at the same time. Like if Jock Schrödinger had a cat, but a cat's mum was English. Forget about the bra keith particle duality. This canon is weirder still. The reason that this sits here with pride of place below the monument to Wolfe and Montcalm, the protagonists of the famous Battle of the Plains of Abraham that won Canada for Britain, is of course, that's right, the Crimean War. The Crimean War was a conflict fought from October 1853 to February 1856, sparked by religious conflict in Palestine. What are the chances? Actually, this conflict wasn't between Arabs and Jews, this was between competing Christian faiths. Now, if you're thinking, was that the year that they were upgrading Hampden and they moved the Celtic Rangers Cup final to a neutral venue in Jerusalem, but it all kicked off anyway? No. This was a conflict between the Catholics and the Eastern Orthodox. Essentially, the French and Russians were supporting different sides in a religious punch-up in Palestine when the Ottoman rulers were Muslim and Britain, being Protestant, had nothing to do with it. But might as well get stuck in anyway. It all ended up in a conflict on the Crimean Peninsula between the Russian Empire on one side and the declining Ottoman Empire on the other, supported by Britain and France. Oh, in Sardinia. I think there was a Sardinian striker that played up front for Rangers on a loan deal. The Crimean War gave us Florence Nightingale and Mary Seacole, and the enduring image of the thin red line, immortalised in the painting by Robert Gibb. But a phrase coined by a Times journalist, W.H. Russell, who watched early one morning as a Russian cavalry force of 400 advanced on the British camp at Balaclava. The only troops between the camp and oncoming cavalry were the 93rd Regiment Sutherland Highlanders. Their commander, Colin Campbell was his name, he knew that the men should form a square to face the onslaught of a cavalry charge, but they hadn't had the appropriate training to carry out this manoeuvre on the battlefield. They should draw up in a line, and that would normally be 4 deep, but he didn't have enough men, so he formed them up in 2 lines, red jackets over dark kilts. He called out, "There's no retreat from here, men. You must die where you stand." His aide, John Scott, coolly replied, "Aye, sir. If needs be, we'll do that." As the Russian cavalry approached, the Turks on the flanks broke and fled. The 93rd stood. As the horsemen advanced, the 93rd discharged a volley at 800 yards. Then another at 500 yards. No point-blank volley was needed because the Russians turned. That's why the Times correspondent wrote from his vantage point overlooking the scene that he could see nothing between the charging Russians and the British regiment's base at Balaclava but a thin red line tipped with a line of steel of the 93rd Sutherland Highlanders. Anyway, this cannon wasn't involved in that engagement. Now, recently you may have heard me advertising my 60th birthday tour in September. I've been saying that the tour will end with a ceilidh for my 60th birthday in Gillydew in Edinburgh. Now, here's an opportunity for a small number of folks who aren't coming on the tour to join us at the ceilidh for your dinner, drinks and a cracking ceilidh band. If you fancy one of the small number of tickets available to share this night with the tour group, me and my family, then email alexis@scotlandhistorytours.co.uk. At the end of the war in 1856, 4,000 Russian guns were captured, of which 1,500 went to Britain. They were offered to towns and cities throughout the empire who thought that they would make for a decorative display or a bombastic exhibition of Rule Britannia greatness. 20 came to Canada, and this is one of them. I believe it was captured at the siege of Sebastopol, so not Scottish. In fact, possibly not even Russian. You see, some researchers reckon that the Russians got this cannon from the French. That would be at the end of the whole Napoleonic debacle. After Napoleon had been defeated, everything got shared out by the Treaty of Paris and the Congress of Vienna. Presumably, as part of that, they said to the Russians that they could have this cannon. So the French? Actually, no. The reason that these were given to the Russians at the end of the Napoleonic Wars was that the French had nicked them from the Russians in the first place. Napoleon invaded Russia and swept all before him, but the Russians evacuated Moscow and burned their own capital down just to spite the French. And to spite the Russians, the French took this cannon and some other stuff. It's a well-travelled cannon. So, maybe it's French, maybe it's Russian, but not Scottish. Keith. And then you look at the markings on the cannon. Now, I'm not pretending that I can decipher markings. I just read about this. But apparently the cannon came from the Gascoigne works in Russia. Who was Gascoigne, I hear you ask? Well, he was an industrialist during the Industrial Revolution in Britain. Apparently, in the 1770s, the British government had been helping with the military development of the Russian Empire. And somebody in Russia ordered a steam engine train thingy, which was duly sent with some Scottish coal and Scottish workmen. You see, it was ordered from the Carron Ironworks in Falkirk. Oh, the impact and influence of the Carron Ironworks was huge. One big factor in its success was that Gascoigne had developed a new type of cannon. It was named the Gasconade after him, although later it became known as the Carronade after the Carron Ironworks. It was designed to be shorter than normal cannon of similar calibre, which meant that it had a lower muzzle velocity and it wouldn't have the range of longer barreled guns, but it was perfect as a short-range naval weapon delivering broadsides, And because it was shorter, it was lighter, and you could fit more on ships. It was a huge hit. Needless to say, the next thing was that the Russians wanted some guns for their navy, and they ordered them from the Karen Company. So impressed was Catherine the Great that she wanted a whole bunch of them. Hold on, thought the British authorities. This is all getting a bit cutting edge to be sent to Russia. Long story short, Gascoigne delivered the Russians' orders, and then in 1786 travelled to Kronstadt to supervise the installation of a whole foundry, taking some Scottish workers from the Karen Ironworks. He stayed there for 20 years. In 1797, when he set up an ammunition and cannon factory for the Black Sea Fleet, he effectively founded Luhansk. He was known as Karl Karlovich Gascoigne, became a state councillor, a knight of St. Vladimir, received the Order of St. Anne, and was head of various mines and foundries. Now, you might say, hold on, isn't that a bit money-grabbing, backstabby and treacherous? I would point out, he was born in England. What I'm saying is that when people pass this cannon in Quebec City and use the "if it's not Scottish" rule to assess its quality, you could say that it was Russian, but its design and manufacturing process were established in Scotland by a guy who was born in England. So, sometimes when you look at it, it's brilliant. Other times when you look at it, it's shite. And that's how quantum physics works. I've got another video coming up on screen now. All you need to know is that it's Scottish. Support the channel by clicking top right to become a Patreon member, or buy me a coffee in the description below. In the meantime, ha' mi an dóchas gon bia lam alive. Sherry and Rasta.